Hi, all middle school students. Miss Hart here. I'm welcoming you to your first official library read aloud that is virtual. I miss you so very much coming to the library to check out books and participate in all sorts of fun activities, but that doesn't mean that we can't enjoy books together. In order to celebrate National Poetry Month, which is the month of April, I decided to read to you some poems about nature so that you yourself can be inspired to go just outside of your house, just right out there and see if you can find something that you want to write about. So here we go. The title of the book is called Thorns, Horns, and Crescent Moons. Our very first poem is called The Owl. Perched on a thick branch, the owl blinks, then scans the ground for toads in the night. This type of poem is called a haiku, which is a Japanese form of poetry that is very short. Mushroom gloom. Down in the mulberry bog sat a mushroom alone in the fog. He said with a sigh, I am a fungi, but I'm doomed to be stuck on a log. Now I'm sure you can hear the rhyme in here, so this is an example of a poem that has a rhyme pattern. Sidewalk worms. The sidewalk surface slowly squirms with at least 12 dozen worms. The morning rains that coaxed them up have now gone dry and left them stuck. And as they wriggle to and fro, I wonder where they hope to go. For when the sun climbs up the sky, its heat will doom these worms to fry. But have no fear, do not despair. Nature's cruel, but I still care. I'll spend my morning, noon, and night saving earthworms from their plight. I'll pluck them up and gently pass them in the blades of cool, damp grass. And when my work is all complete, they'll live once more beneath my feet. This is an example of how you can hear rhythm in a poem. Red-tailed hawk. Hawk, red, rust, soaring, searching, diving. Wings, talons. Whiskers, paws. Scurrying, squeaking, escaping, lucky, breathless mouse. This is an interesting poem. It's called a Diamante. It begins with one subject and ends with the next subject. So our first subject is the hawk, who is trying to capture the mouse at the very end. The first snowfall. Hard, cold, rains lighten to white shimmering crystals. Like a blanket, the snow covers us. Hush. This type of poem is called a cinquain. It's a 5-line poem. Quercus velutina. Ogre warts and knobby joints, aged leather leaf litter, kickstand of unseen roots, trunk furrowed with rippling bark, rising tall from dark, rich soil, earth's fist punching skyward with explosions of meaty, helmeted acorns, showering down like cannon fire. This is an example of an acrostic poem, and if you look, the poem spells something out with the first letter beginning in each line. The icicle. On a frigid winter afternoon, my best bud Jim and I walk past the county courthouse when a bright glint strikes my eye. The sunshine bounces off a shaft of ice so clear and clean. I know it's an icicle unlike any I've ever seen. The crystal pillar calls to us. It must be 10 feet long. We whack it with our mittens, but its base is thick and strong. Then I notice Jim's reflection in the icicle's bright sheen. A grin has spread across his face. His eyes look so sharp and keen. I bet it tastes like dew, he says, or a bubbling mountain spring. One lick should test my theory. I've just got to taste this thing. That's not a good idea, I say. Please, Jim, don't press your luck. But he doesn't heed my warning, and now his tongue is stuck. This is an example of a narrative poem, which is a poem that tells a story. This one happens to have a funny ending. This is why I love swimming pools. Now for this one, I'm going to have to turn my head to read. I'm doggy paddling past the dock when something grabs my ankles. It feels like flocks of lovesick eels, the seaweed's out to get me. My peaceful back floats ruined again by clingy plumes of green, wet witch's hair, a swimmer's snare. The seaweed's out to get me. By the shoreline ankle deep, I'm wading pickling shells, just one misstep. My foot's in a mush. I swear the seaweed's out to get me. So, this poem is called a concrete poem, and it paints a picture of what it really is. In this case, it happens to be dangling seaweed. Mosquito. Snoozing, snoozing happily when a buzzing fills my ears. First it's here, then it's there. I swat, I clap, I clap. The buzzing pauses. All is still, but then it buzzes more. The noise, it hovers near my neck, its motor droning on. The pesky pest. This little insect drives me crazy until dawn. This poem has something called internal rhymes that create a fun echo of the sound, like the words here and there. The story of rivers. Rain and melting snow make a river grow. Unlike lakes, a river never stands still. Gravity makes its waters travel downhill. Around the world, people watch rivers flow. A river cuts a channel through the ground, starting at a source, ending at a mouth. Rivers can flow from west, east, north, and south, traveling straight or wandering around. Rivers help the growth of each plant and seed. Their waters let us bathe, swim, cook, and drink. Don't pollute it. Don't waste it. Stop and think. Rivers hold the water that people need. The next time you sit along a river's bank, remember its waters are there to thank. This particular poem has what's called imagery. And imagery is something that helps you create a picture in your mind. Great blue heron. Where are you, great blue? Hard to spot in the tall grass swamp. You walk slowly, softly, on legs so bony. You search for a fat crustacean or a fish to spear for lunch and freeze. A fat crab clambers through the sandy water. You calculate where your sharp beak meets the stab. There, now. Your head and beak move fast. You grab a tasty crab. Oh, great blue, you are still hungry and need a bigger swamp to feed you. Your lunch, lift off, take off. Your long neck curves, your legs dangle, and your fringed wings sing soft songs. Here we are using something called alliteration, and it creates an interesting effect on the poem. It repeats the same consonant sounds, so crab clampers and sings soft songs. A little help. On a walk across this dry land, I stepped in a pool of quicksand. I've sunk past my nose. I hate to impose. Could someone please lend me a hand? This fun little poem is called a limerick. A limerick is a silly 5-line poem, just like this one. A sycamore lullaby. Under the shade of the sycamore tree, the spotted, malted sycamore tree, whose bark peels and reveals smooth white and yellows and grays, you can dream of swinging on its tall branches. You can sway with the swish of its green leaves. It stands straight and tall, reaching towards the sun, and at night, glowing in the starshine and the moonlight. This just shows the example of stanzas. These paragraphs here in the poem are called stanzas. Fishing. Just where the morning sun flashes on the water, the shiny mouth of a fish breaks through. The fisherman's muscles twitch. The man watches as the green O plucks a water bug from the face of the lake, leaving only ripples and air. The fisherman casts, his brown arm reaching towards the sunrise as the line unspools with a zing. The jig and hook plop softly in the lake. Not far from where the fish knobbed its snack, the fisherman reels surely, trailing the jig, and in his mind's eye he sees the fish as it wriggles below, swimming into position to swallow the lure. This is what the fisherman sees when he feels a soft tug. Like an animal, the fisherman lunges. He yanks in rod and sets the hook, locks his knees. When the fish takes off, the pole bows like a branch in a storm, and the two of them, a man and fish, wrestle it out in the orange morning light. This is a free verse where you may write without rhyme or any kind of stanza rhythm. Lyric of a sunflower. I am a lonely sunflower, locked in a solar grip. I bloom to soak in all the power and track your daily trip from east to west across the land, absorbing each sweet ray. Your light provides a steady hand to guide me through the day. But when at twilight you descend and darkness slowly creeps, I follow your right to the end, then bow my head to weep. The sunflower here is being personified. It's when you take an inanimate object or an animal, or in this case, a flower, and give it human-like characteristics or traits. A bright surprise. I wander and ramble on my happy fast feet. Through the woods and brambles, I wonder what I'll meet. I thought I might be scared by a creature with horns. Squinting in the sun's glare, I back right into thorns. Bright red drips down my shin. Would I get myself loose? More red covers my skin, and it tastes just like juice. Berries on the branches hang, taste both sweet and tart. Each raspberry dances in sunlight like small hearts. Scratched by thorny sticks at the edge of the woods, I eat and bend and pick, and it tastes so good. This is just an example of something called a quatrain, which is a stanza of 4 lines. Oh, to the mouse in my bedroom. There is a mouse in my room. Can you hear the scratching? My mother screeched out and grabbed the broom, but I'm hoping I can catch him. Dad set out cheese. I ate it up. I couldn't let Dad nab him. Dad set a trap. I broke its hinge, so I'm the one to grab him. Truth be told, I need this mouth for hatching my next scheme. I can't let Mom swat him to death, nor Dad smash in his bean. I hope to wear my parents down bit by bit by bit. Then I'll catch the mouse myself and pitch a giant fit. I'll hold the mouse up by its tail and threaten to let up. I'll tell my folks I'll take him out if I can get a pup. This is an example of an ode or a lyric poem. Visiting the buffalo. In the gully a buffalo looms, a bull with head the size of a boulder. His great black haunches sway slowly from side to side as he lumbers towards the creek. A thick ebony horn sprouts from each side of his bulging brow. As he turns one last time to watch us go, his eyes, each longer than a cupped palm, are warm and sad. This is an example of a couplet, which is 2 lines in a stanza. This is the last poem that I'm going to read, and it's called The Ballad. The Ballad of Grog Frog. Gather round, my tadpoles, and listen as I tout the ballad of the Grog Frog and his famous boxing bout. This tale began at midnight beneath a crescent moon, as water lapped the sandy beach of Finnegan's Lagoon. Old Grog Frog was a-strollin', no care did cloud his mind, when a diamond-spotted rattler surprised him from behind. "What's this?" the rattler lisped, while licking his scaly lips. "You'll make a tasty morsel once I get you in my grips." Now Grog Frog didn't flinch a bit at that cool serpent's voice. He spun around and simply said, "I'll give to you a choice. Let me live this night, my friend, and you'll live longer too. Or risk your skin on one last meal. The decision's up to you." The snake hissed, "You talk rough, but I know my rule." Then he lunged in like a cracking whip and swallowed Grog Frog whole. But Grog Frog was a pro who'd never last a fight. He started throwing punches, first a left hook, then a right. The rattler moaned, "Oh dear me, my guts are feeling queasy. I really thought a frog like you would slide down nice and easy." "You were wrong," Greg replied. "Now take my kind suggestion. Spit me out before my fists bring deadly indigestion." In a flash the serpent erped, his inside left much lighter. Before him stood the world's greatest amphibian prize fighter. "We've had our sport," the boxer said, "but clearly I'm the winner. From here on out I do advise you watch what you call dinner." And that is how my tadpoles, the Grog Frog, won his bout with an overeager rattler who he fought from inside out. Now that you have heard a collection of these poems, it is your turn to go out and explore your backyard for some animals or some other inspiration, perhaps some clouds that you see in the sky, and try your hand at writing your own poems. Good luck, and I hope you enjoy poetry.